The point of interest. Now, as a filmmaker and editor myself, I find this one of the most interesting techniques because we can really start playing around now with the eyes of the audience. So, what is a point of interest? Well, it's a point in your shot where the audience is looking at. It's that simple. We've already seen how we can use various composition techniques such as leading lines to determine where the audience should look at. And usually that's going to be your subject, the point of interest. Alright, so when we're editing and we have two shots that follow each other, we can use that point of interest to play around with. For instance, when the point of interest lays right here in the first shot, it means that it will also start on that point in the second shot. And we can make it the audience easy by also making sure that the subjects lay in the same area as the point of interest of the previous shot. Or the opposite, and this is where it really becomes interesting. We can have the subject in the second one be on the other side of the framing. So the audience first have to search where the subject is. Or even better, we're going to use leading lines to guide the audience to the new point of interest. Of course, we don't always have to work with leading lines. We've seen other techniques as well, so let's have a look at a small sequence. With every shot, we change the point of interest, but we use leading lines, depth of field, colors, perspective, and exposure to do that. Now, a change of point of interest is also a psychological change. Say that we're shooting a classic over shoulder. As we cut to the other person, that point of interest shifts to the other side. We're not only changing the point of interest, we're also saying, hey, this is a different person. There's a change. And you can use that same technique as well for different scenes. We're going from a forest where the point of interest lays right here to a sand surface where we change the point of interest. Now, do we always have to do that? No, of course not. Keeping the point of interest in the same area has its benefits as well. There's no change, so we link the two shots more together. Here we've got Lucia looking deeply into Lorenzo's eyes. Filming this in a classic way still kind of separates them from each other. So let's shoot this straight on, and both of them have to look into the lens now. Their point of interest is the same, and so their love is even more connected as well. Small things like these can make an amazing cinematography. Of course, there's a lot more than a typical love story. Let's have a look at those typical travel videos where you have this fast-paced edit. Why does this work, and how come that we understand what's going on in every shot, even though it's going so fast? The answer? Point of interest. You see, when you cut to a shot where the point of interest lays somewhere else, it takes some time for the viewer to notice that. So we have to make sure to hold that shot long enough. Where we cut to a shot where the point of interest stays the same, the viewer also understands much faster what the new shot is about. And this is what makes those fast-paced edits possible. Every shot is linked together through the point of interest. During a shot, we can move that point of interest around. That's the beautiful thing about video. We can move the camera or the subject. And this way we can keep the edit interesting and not have the viewer look at the same area the entire time. But with every cut that we make, the point of interest does stay in the same area. So that's the point of interest and how we can play around with it. Important to know is that we first need to create a point of interest through various composition techniques that we've seen before. We can then cut to a new shot and either guide the viewer to a new point of interest or cut to a shot that had its point of interest in the same area. Use them wisely and to your advantage. Thanks for watching.